honorable member of SAFI over here, I'll tell you a small story. We were talking about leadership just now. So what I learned in the army on ground and what I learned in books at IIM Calcutta and in the corporate sector, I will tell you what. The difference between a boss in the corporate sector and a leader in the army. A boss says I. A leader says we. A boss says get there on time. A leader says let's get there ahead of time all together. A boss knows how it is done. A leader shows how it is to be done. A boss lets his people know where he stands. A leader lets his people know where they all stand. A boss takes the credit. A leader gives it away. So who are you? Choose. You want to be a boss or a leader? I will take you back in the year 2014. I had just left my regular 9-to-5 job and I was struggling very badly in Mumbai looking for work. And that time I happened to attend the Filmfare Award ceremony. And there was a young filmmaker. He was being awarded for a film and he got an award. So when he walked up on stage, he was a little nervous. And as he picked up the mic, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you know why I was nervous? I did not know, I had not prepared an award-winning speech. So I do not know what I will speak to you all. But I will definitely, whatever I speak, I'll speak from my heart. And let me share a small story with you. When I signed this film, my father asked me, oh, you are going to be directing a film. What do you do as a director? Do you write the story? No. Do you write the dialogues? No. Do you write the script? No. Oh, so do you cast the actors? You will tell that so-and-so actor will play so-and-so part? No. You will teach them to fight on screen? Dushum, dushum? No. You will teach them how to dance? No. You will cast? No, the casting director does that, the script writer does that, the action director does that, the music director does that. So they all have their own responsibilities, their own jobs. Okay, so you will hold the camera, you will put the camera angles. No, the director of photography, the cameraman will do that. Okay, but then son, if everyone else on the set is going to do their job, what will you do? So that got him thinking, what would I do as a director? And I couldn't find any answer. So the director's father told him that tomorrow morning I'll come on your set to see what kind of work do you do. So as in the morning, Tripal was late, some snacks were called and nice heavy high tea was set up for the father to come, the director's father. And when the director's father came and the young son, the director was in anxiety. Now how will I impress my father? What will I show him? What work do I do? So I said, okay, what I will do, I will say action. And my father will be very impressed. So as everything was ready, before the director could say action, the assistant director came and said action. So he couldn't say that. He said, okay, fine. I will say cut it, cut, to show that I am an authority, I am in charge. And but the shot was going so well that he didn't have the heart to say cut it. And they were all seasoned actors performing. So, but he said, but now my father will not be impressed if he does not find me doing anything. So I will say cut now. Just as he was about to say cut, the director of photography, the cameraman, saw some technical fault. He saw some light entering the frame, which should not have come into the frame accidentally from the sunlight basically. So the DOP, the director of photography, said, cut, technical error. Now the young director could not even say cut. And the father sat there, finally got fed up, and then he went away from there. When he came home at night for dinner, they used to eat dinner together, the entire family. So his father rebuked him in front of his mother. I went on a set. He does not do anything. He did not know his job. He was just sitting and watching everyone else work. Just passing orders. Useless guy. Good for nothing. And when the young filmmaker heard this, he was deeply pained. But today, he says, as I come to receive the award before you all, I get the answer. As a director, what did I do? All I did was, I put a fine team of experts together who knew the job very well, who were excellent at the job. And I got the entire team together, and once I did that, everything else was in autopilot mode. Everything fell in its own place automatically. That is what I did as a director. And that is what leadership is. You don't have to, as a leader, you're not expected to go down. You should know your job, yes. But if you get hands down there and start doing the job on the ground, who will be the one who will execute the orders and the planning and the strategy from top? Now let me tell you another thing. Another story, a real story again. There was a 10-year-old boy. He wanted to learn martial arts. And he didn't have his right arm. Without having one arm, he dreamt of becoming a martial artist. Can you beat that? So he went to a martial arts school and he says that I want to get enrolled over here. I want to learn martial arts. But the school told him that, no, you cannot learn martial arts because you don't have a hand. So we cannot really train you. We are very sorry. We want to train you, but we cannot. So he went to the next school. The next school also said, we cannot train you in martial arts. So sorry, because you don't have a hand. He was very upset. He went to the third school. They also turned him down. They had fourth, fifth, sixth. And he saw 10 schools thereafter. All 10 schools rejected him. They said, we cannot train you. So sorry, we would love to train you. You have the zeal, the passion, but we cannot. Finally, he went to one coach who was incidentally, very interestingly, an ex-army man. I'm not saying this because Colonel Nisaro, I am from the army, but no. So this ex-army man saw him. He said, okay, I have served in the army. I have been trained in martial arts. I will train you. And I will not just train you. I will help you win a competition as well. Come under my wings. So he takes him under his wings and he starts learning martial arts. Over a period of time, he began to hone his skills and he started becoming better and better and better and better until he became a black belt in martial arts. Then he went for the competition. And in the competition, he entered the quarterfinals. He won it. Obviously, thereafter, he entered the semifinals. He won that. Now he was in the finals. And in the final again, he was against a very tough competition. And do you know what happened in the finals? He won the finals. Yes, he did. And the people who he had defeated were all from the academies which had turned him down, which had rejected him earlier. So the coaches of those academies came up to this coach, who was an ex-army man, and they told him that, sir, how did you manage to teach him and coach him and help him win as well? He has won the gold. So he said, it's very simple actually. When this young boy came to you, what you all saw was what he does not have. One arm, right? What did I see? No, not what he has only. I also saw what he does not have and also what he has. He has a zeal, he has a passion, he has a determination, he has a grit, he has a desire, he has the urge. His urge was genuine and honest. And what he didn't have, he only didn't have his arm. And which arm? The right arm. Now, as you all would be knowing it better, that in the martial arts, there's one particular stroke, which is called the master stroke, where you grab the opponent's right hand and you throw him down. So when the opponent came to grab him by his right arm, he didn't have a right arm. So because he didn't have a right arm, he could not throw him down. And he put up a tough fight. And as a result of his training and his practice and his own hard work, he won the competition. So many times we get demoralized in life. Oh, I don't have this. I would not be able to do this. But just because you don't have that, it could mean that you have something better going for you. You're made for better and bigger things. There was a very well-to-do businessman who lived in Oman. And he was setting up a shoe business, and in a remote area in India. So he tells his son that go and explore the market. What are the scope of marketing opportunities we have over here? So he goes, he says, oh, Dad, I have just explored this area. And nobody over here wears shoes. They don't even wear chappals. We don't have any scope. We don't have a market over here. So I think we'll have to forget it. Let's call it off. There's no point doing business over here. Okay. He sent his second son to go and explore the market. And he goes and explores the market. And this time, what happens? The second son gives him a feedback. Dad, I have just explored the market. The good news is that nobody over here wears footwear. Nobody here has the chappals. So when we get a stock, our entire stock would get sold out in one go. A very good scope of marketing in this remote place. Get the entire stock. Let's come on. Let's get on. So now there are two ways of looking at it. One way was, oh, it won't work over here. The other way was, it will work very well over here. I'll give you an example of my cousin, my own cousin, my first cousin. He was shooting for a film. The film's name is Happy New Year. Vivan, the fifth hacker. He played a hacker in the film with Shah Rukh Khan, and it was a Happy New Year. So Vivan was in that, and so he introduced me to Shah Rukh Khan at that time. And just a minute, I'll just get this call. So now Shah Rukh Khan says that, I had the honor of meeting him personally, and he told me one thing. That, when I had come to Mumbai, everyone said that, oh, he does not have the height. He doesn't look good. He does not look like a hero at all. He has very unconventional looks. His eyebrows are disproportionate. His nose is out of place. His lips are disproportionate. He doesn't have a strong jawline. He speaks very fast. He has a very bad speech impediment. So there's no point. He will not be able to become an actor. So sorry, my phone was ringing, so I'll just call again. So he will not be able to make good of himself. But today, all those qualities which people said that he lacked, he is where he is. And these were people who were telling him, who are very influential, very of high expertise level. They were experts. They were all established people in their own fields. But he didn't listen to any of them. He listened to his own heart. He felt that he could do it. It's all in the mind. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you cannot, there's almost a can't you won't. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. For out in the world we find success begins with a person's will. It's all in the state of mind. Life's battles don't always go to a stronger or faster man. Nah. But sooner or later, the person who wins is the one who thinks He can. So if you think you can do it, you can do it. If you can see it happen before your eyes, that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to become. You can be what you want to be, you can become whatever you want to become. No matter what you don't have, no matter what you have. You can convert all your liabilities, your disadvantages, your negatives into your strengths. Let me tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. I had my first heartbreak when I was 5 years old. Yes. I had my first heartbreak when I was 5 years old. I'll come to it subsequently, but I had made up my mind as to what I want to do when I grow up. When I was also 5 years old. I fell in love for the first time when I was 5 years old again. And what did I fall in love with? I fell in love with the army uniform and the feeling of being on stage. Right now in this pandemic, it has limited our movement, our traveling, but here I am on stage. As Colonel Nissa rightly said, the stage is all yours. So here I am on stage. As William Shakespeare also once said, all the world is stage, right? And all the men and women merely players. They have their entrances and exits. And one man in this time plays many parts. First, the infant, mewling and puking in another's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with a satchel. Anyhow, we'll come to that. So now, I made up my mind that time that this is what I want to do when I grow up. After my class 5th, I didn't clear the entrance test of the prestigious Doon School, so I couldn't get through the Doon School. In class 9th, I topped my batch from behind. Some people frantically call, they don't understand. If I'm cutting the call, they should understand that I am cutting the call, but they're calling and repeatedly. Anyhow, so in class 9th, I topped my batch from behind. In class 10th, I got a compartment exam in maths. After my class 12th, I didn't clear the entrance test for the National Defense Academy, for the NDA. I did my graduation, did NCC in my graduation. I appeared for the National School of Drama. Since I told you, I fell in love with the stage as well. I didn't get through the NSD, not once, but twice, 2001 and 2002. I failed the entrance test for Jamia Millia Islamia to do mass communication. And then I was like, now what do I do? I'm in a mess. So I sat for the Officers Training Academy, the Combined Defense Services exam. And I had got so used to failing that I thought that probably I will not make it over here. And when the result came, I went to the UPSC office and the result was there on the notice board. I went and there was a big crowd over there. So I looked on the notice board as well and I didn't find my name in the list. Why I didn't find my name in the list? Nobody's name was there in the list. Only the roll numbers were there, right? So I didn't find my roll number in the list. I was very upset and demoralized. And as I turned around to go back, I thought, let me check once more. So I took out that list on which my roll number was written. And I tallied it and I looked again. And yes, right on top, my roll number was written over there, which meant my name is there. But then again, I had a doubt. I asked the people around me, excuse me, whose roll numbers are these? Are these people who have passed? Or are these people who have failed? So the guys laughed. He said, come on, don't joke like this. Yeah, obviously, these are guys who have passed. Why would they put the roll numbers of people who have failed? I said, no. These are people who have failed actually. How can you be so sure? I said, no, because my roll number is there in that. I said, yeah, your roll number is there in that. So because you've passed. I couldn't believe that I've passed. Anyhow, and then I joined the Officers Training Academy and for my training. Now, during the training, I was doing well in academy because my father was a General Sahib at that time. He had trained me before only my physical fitness, for the parade, for everything. He had trained me that when my son goes to the academy, he will do well. But there was one particular test which I failed repeatedly and consistently. That was the DST, the drill square test, the marching test. Colonel Nisar will know about DST, the drill square, where you, even the ones who are doing NCC would know that you march left, right, left. First attempt, fail. Second attempt, fail. Third attempt, fail. And then there was a midterm break. All the cadets went home to meet their loved ones, their parents. And it was so disheartening to see them go home with their bags packed. And I didn't get permission to go home and meet my family. No, I was made to sit back in the academy. I had extra punishments, extra drills, and I kept practicing for the test, the academy. And you get a lanyard. That's like in the ones in the NCC would know that it's a pride to wear that lanyard. I didn't have that lanyard. And you also get something like a liberty to go out on Sundays on outings, to watch a movie, to eat out, to meet your friends. I didn't get permission to go out. So I was in the academy. I kept practicing for that test. Now the academy reopened. All the cadets came back refreshed, rejuvenated. And buddy, how are you? Long time. And they were all meeting each other. But I was very depressed. I was very demoralized. But fourth attempt, I gave the fourth attempt and I failed. Fifth attempt, fail. Sixth attempt, fail. Now, the last mercy attempt, that's a grace attempt, was organized specially for me. Can you believe that? Because I was super excellent in all my tests. In BPT, I was topping. I was super excellent. In PPT, I was super excellent. In my physicals, I was super excellent. In my academics, I was average. But in DST, repeatedly failed. So I was marched up to the commandant of the academy. Normally, you have a march up to a major or to a colonel at the most, to the adjutant or to the battalion commander. But here, I broke the tradition of being marched up to the commandant, to one Major General. So Major General Avasthi was there. And as I was marched up to him, he read my report card. He said, son, I have your record of service, your record before me, and I must say I'm proud of you because you're doing very well. You are doing exceedingly well in every single subject. But this one particular subject, you are failing repeatedly and consistently. What are the problems, son? What are the reasons of your consistent failure in this subject? So I told him, sir, when I came for my training in the army, when I was entering the academy, my father told me, son, do well in academy, make us proud. But most importantly, always remember to keep your performance consistent. So I was only listening to my father's advice by being consistent in that performance and consistently failing in that. So he had a good laugh. He said, I love this cadet's sense of humor. Come on, give him some extra punishments and all, but I want him to be passed in the drill square test. Anyhow, thereafter, I passed in the drill square test. And you know what happened? Then I had finished about 4.5 years of service. I was posted in Nagaland, that time with Colonel Nisar, of course, at that time, and I was with the Assam Rifles. So my commanding officer gave me a call, how's your drill? And he sent me for the selection for the Republic Day parade. And when I went there for my selections, I saw they were a line of very handsome, smart, robust officers in one line who were standing for selections. When I saw them, I got very nervous. I thought to myself, I don't have a scope before any of them, and I would definitely not be selected. But as they started marching, 2 officers were selected. I was the second one to come to Delhi for the Republic Day parade. I was the Adam officer, not the contingent commander. Now the contingent commander fell sick before we came to Delhi, and I, by default, automatically stepped in the shoes of becoming the contingent commander. And now I was the parade commander of the Assam Rifles contingent. Wow. Superb. But you know what happened? A few days before 26 January 2008, we were practicing early morning at 4:30 a.m. at the Army Parade Ground in Delhi. Delhi winters. It was very cold. It was misty. It was foggy. Yes, as your principal rightly said, attendees, you can post your question in the question and answer. Absolutely, I would be very, very happy to answer those questions. And I developed this excruciating pain. We all have felt pain sometime in our lives, right? All of us. But here the pain was excruciating. It was abnormal pain where my eyes started watering and I could hear a buzzing sound from my ears. Boom. My cheeks had turned red and I could feel unbearable pain. I fell down like a spring. Tuck. And a stretcher was called and I was made to. But early morning, first report, they had taken me to the military hospital where the orthopedician, Dr. Amir Ahmed would know better that when he x-rayed my legs, he said, you got 2 stress fractures in both my legs. I had swelling in my shin bones. So he said, you cannot really do the parade. We are sending you back to your unit. I said, no, sir, I will still do the parade. So I didn't go to an army doctor. I went to a civil doctor because the army doctor had the power to actually send me back to unit. I went to a civil doctor. He also x-rayed me and he said, now what do we do? I said, now what do we do? Please cure me, sir. He said, it takes time. We'll have to conduct an operation. We'll have to fit a metal rod in both your legs and metal screws. So because you have damaged your legs in a very, very bad way. And I'll tell you the reason for that. The reason was there was so much of josh, energy, enthusiasm that when I would bat my leg and I would stamp my leg for the parade, I would do it extra hard. And as a result, what happened? I ended up damaging my legs because of that josh. Now the golden question was, I cannot do the parade now. But I was determined here. I said, I will still do the parade whether I have fractured legs or what. I don't care. I will still do the parade. 23rd January, we have a full dress rehearsal where the President of India is not there. Apart from that, the dignitaries are there. There are people watching the parade. There's media. There are audience. And I was marching. And as I approached the President's dais, once again, that pain started coming in my shin. And it was unbearable. I said, no, I have to keep going. I can't afford to show my pain with my men behind me and the people watching me. No, my mental strength, I kept marching on Rajpath. But when I gave the word of command, I gave a wrong word of command. And the word of command has to be very loud that there's a military band playing behind the contingent. So your word of command has to be louder than the military band as well. So that your men behind you can hear your command. If they do not hear your command, they will goof up a step. And that is exactly what happened in my case. Because of the pain, I bungled in my word of command. And it was very insulting, very humiliating. I was removed from the post of the parade commander within minutes. And I felt like in the desert, a person is thirsty, right? He comes towards water to drink. Thirsty man, kneeling on his knees, only to discover when he reaches the water that there is no water. It was a mirage. It was an illusion. It never existed. I felt as if I've lost everything at that time because my whole focus was this. And let me tell you one more thing. In the year 1987, when I was barely 7-8 years old, one of my uncles had led the Republic Day parade on 26 January 1987 at Rajpath, the Armored Corps contingent. And my sister was selected from her school to participate in the Republic Day parade. But then my maternal grandfather passed away just a few days before 26 January 1987. So my sister could not participate in that parade because we went to our hometown. So somewhere that pain, somewhere that desire was always there in my subconscious mind, at the back of my mind. And now, 3 days before the parade, I am removed as the parade commander, as the contingent commander. How did I feel? But I pleaded. I said, sir, please, I have to do the parade. The desire was so strong. As Paulo Coelho wrote in The Alchemist, on page number 56, chapter 3, he writes, paragraph 3, he also writes, if you truly desire something from the bottom of your heart, The whole universe conspires to get it together for you. And my desire was so strong that yes, the next day the orders came from the Director General Assam Rifles that the parade would be commanded by none other than Major Muhammad Ali Shah. So I led the parade with 2 fractured legs. In fact, I have shared a link over here of that parade. If it's possible, if you can, please, if it's possible to share, it's a 28-second video. Where was handling the technical? I'm so sorry to drop this surprise, but if Colonel Nisar sir, is it possible, sir, to show this 28-second video?
Yeah, we can do that. Junaid, please share that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Junaid bhai, if you can put the audio as well in that. So while Junaid bhai plays this, let me tell you now, I led the parade. I saluted the President of India, and I reached the India Gate. And from India Gate to Red Fort, there's a 14-kilometer march where you march with your legs up. It's a proper smart march where no one's watching you right now. There's no media, there are no audience, there's no coverage, there are no spectators, there's nobody. So had I wanted, I could have sat in the ambulance and come. I could have sat in my gypsy and come. Had I wanted, I could have walked coolly, strolled my way in. But no, even if nobody was watching me, my men behind me were watching me, right? That is something I learned from the army. Integrity. Integrity is nothing but being honest to your own self when no one is watching you. I think the video is starting now. I have 2 fractured legs in this, mind you. Junaid bhai, if you can just put the volume as well, please.
SAFIs and cannons. We have the Assam Rifles marching contingent led by Major Muhammad Ali Shah. Make salutes to the President, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, Sentinels of the Northeast. They have won 3 Ashok Chakras along with numerous other.
Thank you very much, Junaid bhai. Thank you, Colonel Nisar sir. Very, very nice.
Big feature of the BSFUs and cannons. We have the Assam Rifles marching contingent led by Major Muhammad Ali Shah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So I led the parade. But then you know what? The story hasn't ended as yet. I was to get engaged on 26 January 2008 to my wife, to my fiancée at that time, now my wife, of course. And because of the level of injury that I had, I did it on painkillers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I did it on painkillers. Don't try this at home. Don't try it yourself. Thank you very much for your sweet comments. Don't try this at home at all. Because the will, the desire, I was determined, I will do it. I will do it. Nothing in the world can stop me from reaching where I want to go. There's a photograph of a cat looking into a mirror. And what does this cat see? A cat sees a lion. A cat sees itself larger than life. So we are nothing but what we think we are. Like in a jungle. Okay, let's play a game quickly, okay, to wake you up. Let's play a game. Whoever writes, this game is called Fastest Finger First. Who is going to, let's see, first top 5 replies. In a jungle, in a forest, which is the tallest animal in a jungle? Fast, reply, come on. Let's see the chat box. Who will reply? I'm waiting for some replies in the chat box. Come on. Giraffe, okay, very well. Giraffe, okay. In a jungle, which is the biggest animal, the largest animal. Now, you answered the tallest animal correctly. Let's see, which is the biggest animal in the jungle? Elephant, very good. You're right, absolutely, elephant, okay. In a jungle, which is the fastest animal? Let's see, come on. Fastest finger first. Don't forget, come on. Cheetah, okay, you got that right. I'm so impressed. We're getting all the answers right. Okay, let's make it slightly more tougher and difficult now. In a jungle, which is the most clever animal? a very sly animal, you can call it. Yes, they call fox. Yes, absolutely, fox. Okay, you're right, you're absolutely right. Now, in a jungle, last question, which is the most beautiful animal, the most good-looking animal? That's a tough question. I will tell you why it's tough. It is tough. Peacock, okay, very good. Okay, very good. Now I will say, see, beauty is skin deep and beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So something might look very good to me, might look very appealing to me, may not be that appealing to you. Something might be appealing to you, may not be that appealing to me. So beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Now is the last and the final question. Not top 5 answers, one answer only we'll see. Will be the winner of this game, okay? In a jungle, who is the king of the jungle? Lion, okay, all right. Perfect. I'm so happy. Superb. I love your answers. Yes, all of you got it right. Absolutely right. Now, I'll come to the point. Neither the tallest, nor the largest, nor the fastest, nor the most intelligent, perhaps not even the most beautiful, which none of you answered. He wasn't the most beautiful. But yet, lion is the king of the jungle, right? Why? I will tell you why. Because it's totally fearless. It fears no one. It has the right attitude, right behavior, right thinking to be the king. Because it feels like a king, that's why it's a king. If it would have felt like a jackal, it would have been a jackal. So always think high. As I said, you got to think high to rise. And never quit in life. In difficult times, don't give up. So I was to get engaged on 26 January. I didn't get engaged on 26 January because I was attending to my injury. Because my level of injury was advised by doctors that, you can lose both your legs if you try these funny stunts. You are not fit medically to do the parade. You will not be able to do the parade. But I didn't. Wrong on my part. Very wrong. You got to have that element of madness. That there was an element of madness there as well. I didn't listen to anyone. I listened to my own heart. What my heart told me. I did the parade. I didn't get engaged that day, yes, but I got engaged the next day. On 27 January 2008, I got engaged. Within 2 months, I got married. And we've been happily married, touch wood, ever since. So now, everything is in the mind. Now, especially in these pandemic times, let me tell you one more thing. In these pandemic times, there's a poem and then I'll tell you a story. Okay? When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but have to sigh. When care's pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. See, life is queer with its twists and turns, and all of us sometimes learn. And many a person turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. So don't quit. Though the pace seems slow, you may win with another blow. Often the goal is further for a faint and faltering man. Often a struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worst. No. You must not quit. So don't quit. Don't quit when the tide is lowest, for it's just about to turn. Don't quit over doubts and questions, for there is something you may learn. Don't quit when the night is darkest, for there's just a moment until dawn. Don't quit when you've run the farthest, for the race is almost won. Don't quit when the hill is steepest, for your goal is almost nigh. Don't quit, for you're not a failure, unless and until you fail to try. If you try, only then you will succeed, right? If you don't try, you will definitely not succeed. And let me tell you one more thing, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, my dear friends, today I am speaking to you all. Not because I'm smarter or more intelligent or wiser or more talented than any of you, or because I'm a good motivational speaker. I'm not. I'm far from that. I'm not at all. Not one bit. Today I'm speaking to you all because I have made more mistakes than any one of you. And perhaps I would have suffered more failures, more humiliations, more struggles, more hardships, more heartbreaks than any one of you. And when I could come out of it, I'm sure any one of you who's going through a hard time can come out of it. And let me tell you that mental strength is there in all of us, not just me. When I could come out of that, when I had that pain, I suppressed that pain. I went on going strong. That strength is there in each one of us, in all of us. We have to only realize that we have that strength. Today, I'm a faculty at Subhash Ghai's Film School in Mumbai, Whistling Woods International. And remember, I had not got through the National School of Drama twice. And my students, I love them, so they love me. Now I'll come to this pandemic. On one side, the world was last year, in March, April, May, the world was coming to a standstill. Companies were closing, they were suffering losses, there were people dehiring their employees, schools were closing down, offices were closing down, people were cutting down their... So on the other hand, I also knew of companies which were not just making profits, they were making multi-fold profits. And which companies were these? These were the digital companies, the online companies, and the pharma companies as well. So I learned in the army, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. But now I would say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets online. So it's very important. Like, I was not a tech savvy person. And when the Cambridge University invited me last year in the pandemic, let me tell you, a year before that, in the year 2019, I was giving a lot of TEDx talks. And the reason I got paid, there were times I got paid over ₹1 million for a talk as well. Actually, that actually happened. And why there was a time which Colonel Nisar knows, where a private aircraft was sent for me to transport me to deliver a talk to a certain place. Why did all that happen? And I was a child in my childhood, remember, who used to stammer, stutter, lisp, who used to always live in self-doubt, constantly, who used to ask himself, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Do I look all right? Am I dressed all right? I can't speak a single sentence normally. And if a guest would come to my house, I would go inside my room and hide under the bed and lock the room as well, or go to the bathroom and hide myself. Why? Because I couldn't even pronounce my name straight. I have the smallest name in the world, Ali, A-L-I, three-letter name. But no. And today the same boy who couldn't speak at all, who would stammer, stutter, lisp, get stuck while speaking, has given the highest number of TEDx talks in the world, who has been paid millions of rupees to go and travel in private aircraft to deliver talks, not to hear of my success stories, but my failure stories. Failure. What is failure? I perceive failure as first attempt in learning. We all fear in life, right? We all have experienced fear. Now, I would be lying if I tell you that, when I was in the army, when we were going for an attack, I didn't experience fear. I did. But I never showed my fear. I never let my team, my platoon, or my company know that their officer is experiencing the phenomena of fear in his heart. No. Khalil Gibran, a very famous poet, wrote a poem, a few lines on fear. What did he write? He wrote, "It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. It looks back at the path it has traveled. Across the peaks of the mountains, the long winding roads crossing forests and villages. And in front of it, it sees an ocean so vast, oh my God, that to enter seems nothing more but to disappear forever. But there's no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river now has to take the risk of entering the ocean because it is now that fear will disappear. And the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean, right? It's like come to the edge, no, we will fall. Come to the edge, no, we will fall. They came to the edge and they flew. Just when the caterpillar thought it is the end of the world, everything is going to finish for him, just then it transformed into a beautiful butterfly. So many times we get demoralized. Many times we think, oh, I don't have this hand, or I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have money to set up a business, I don't have the capability, I don't have a skill set. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if I, as a boy who would stammer, stutter, lisp, I'm here speaking to you all and giving you all a motivational talk. And I hope you all are motivated at least slightly. If I can create that spark in you and make you realize your own potential from within, I would feel very, very happy. Very, very happy on that. And I was like, the way I was very happy when I saw you all responding to the animals' names over here, which meant, yes, most of you were awake, you were there, attentive. And there's much more. I don't know how much time we have, but I can go on. But before I conclude, I would also like to share a link of mine, the same parade link on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel by my name, Muhammad Ali Shah. Those of you who are there in the auditorium who cannot see the link, they can go on, they got their phones right now, go on YouTube, put in Muhammad Ali Shah, MOHOMMEDALISHAH. There's a YouTube channel of mine. You can subscribe to it, share it, comment, press the like button if you like the video. There are over 800 videos of mine over there. But before I end, I can go on, huh? By the way, I can go on. I have enough energy, enthusiasm, and stamina to go on. But I would like to tell a small poem, which is my favorite poem, by Rudyard Kipling. It's called If. Listen. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowance for the doubting too. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. Or bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Or watch the things you gave your life to broken. And stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and snoo to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can force your heart and nerve and snoo to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and which is more. You'll be a man, my son. Yes, she said it. There's this person who was on the mute, said, but I could hear. So that is what I say, that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve, and don't let anyone else tell you that you cannot do this in life. But I don't feel like ending it. I'm enjoying speaking to you all. I'm like really enjoying speaking to you all, mostly because you all are very responsive when you were giving out the animal's name. So on that note, I would once again go a bit further and recite one more small letter which Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of America, had written to his son's teacher when his son was starting school. And what did he write? He wrote, "My son starts school today. It is all going to be strange and new to him for a while, and I wish you would treat him gently. It's an adventure that might take him across continents. All adventures that probably include wars, tragedy, and sorrow. So, dear teacher, will you please take him by his hand and teach him things he will have to know. Teaching him, but gently if you can. Teach him that for every enemy there is a friend. He will have to know that all men are not just, all men are not true, but teach him also that for every scoundrel there is a hero. For every crooked politician there is a dedicated leader. Teach him that 10 cents earned is of far more value than a dollar found. In school, teacher, it is far more honorable to fail than to cheat. Teach him the wonder of books, but also give him quiet time to ponder about the extreme mysteries of birds in the sky, bees in the sun, and flowers on a green hill. Teach him to have faith in his own ideas, even if everyone tells him they're wrong. Try to give my son the strength not to follow the crowd when everyone else is doing so. Teach him to have the courage to be impatient. Let him have the patience to be brave. Because only then will he have sublime faith in mankind, in God. This is the order, teacher, but see what best you can do. He is such a nice little boy, and he is my son. Right? So I wonder if some of you understand Hindi. If all of you understand Hindi, let me know in the chat box. Because most of you are from Kerala, and great talk with excellent. Thank you very much, Rajesh. Very nice of you to say that. I hope you have subscribed to that link to my YouTube channel. You can see more. They are close to it's getting 1,000 almost. Over 800 videos of mine are there on motivation. And okay, there was a letter which a senior of mine from the army. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Nasreenji. Thank you very much. There's a senior of mine from the army. In the year 1999, the Kargil War was on. So a senior of mine from the army, he was going on the final assault to the enemy. And before going on the final attack, on the final assault, he wrote a letter to his parents back home. And he said, please have this letter posted and make sure it reaches my parents. And he went for the final attack towards the enemy. And do you know what he wrote in the letter? He wrote, "My loving Papa, Mummy, Granny, and Bertie. By the time this letter reaches you all, I would be observing you all from the skies, enjoying the hospitality of Apsaras. I have no regrets. In fact, if I were to be born again as a human, I would choose to join the army and serve my nation. Whichever organ needs to be taken should be taken and donated. Please donate some money to the orphanage and continue giving ₹50 to Ruxana every month. I hope the sacrifice of these brave men is remembered and inspires generations to come. I hope a photograph of mine is kept in the Alpha Company Mandir next to Karni Mata. Papa, if ever you get a chance, please come and see where the Indian Army fought for your tomorrow. Papa, you must be proud. Mama, so must you. Mamaji, please forgive me for anything wrong that I may have done. Anyhow, it's about time I go and join my clan of Dirty Dozen. My assault party has 12 chaps. Live life, king size. Yours, Robin Jai Hind. It was a letter written by Captain Vijayan Thapar, who was martyred in the final assault towards the enemy and who was awarded the Veer Chakra for gallantry posthumous. He wasn't there in flesh and blood to receive the award. His family went on his behalf and received it. And of course, I can go on. Thank you, Ayanji. Excellent. Thank you for sharing the link. Thank you very much. Okay, there's another thing, and most of us over here are students, are youngsters. So there's a poem I read on the internet, and whenever I read something and I like something, I happen to memorize it straight away. I try to memorize it. It's always better to memorize something and then speak, then read out something. I feel so. So the poem is written by, I think, one gentleman called Mr. B. Kumar. I don't know him, unfortunately. I just read it and I loved it. He wrote, "We both left home at 18. You cleared the prestigious JEE. I cleared an entrance test of UPSC. You got through IIT. I got through NDA. You pursued your degree. I pursued my passion and underwent the most rigorous and the toughest training. Your day started at 9 and ended at 5. Mine started at 5 and went on beyond 9 at night, which meant I had to stay up many a night. You had your grand convocation ceremony. I had my passing out parade with pride. Best company took you and the best package was awarded. I was pipped with 2 stars on my shoulders, which I perceive is worth more than $1 million in the sky. You got a plum job. I got a way of life. You celebrated festivals with lights, music, and played with firecrackers. I celebrated festivals in underground bunkers with my comrades, with real firearms, and played with my life. You got to see your family every day. I just wished I got to see my parents soon. We were both sent on our respective duties. You went on luxurious business trips. I was sent on the rugged line of control. We both returned. We both returned from our respective duties. You returned from a luxurious business trip. I returned back from the rugged line of control. Both wives couldn't control the tears. And you wiped hers, but I couldn't. You hugged her, but I couldn't, because my bullet-ridden body was lying in the coffin, and the coffin was wrapped with a tricolor. My way of life ended. Yours continued. We both left home at 80. I became a martyr and became immortal, because martyrs never die. They become legends and live in our hearts and minds forever. How can a man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? There's a very famous quote, sir. When we were in Nagaland, in fact, we used to go to Kohima, the World War Cemetery. We read this quote over there also, which read, "When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today." There's an oath we take in the army when we get commissioned, and we awarded the President's Commission. When on 6 September 2003, I took this oath, which said, the safety, honor, welfare of your country comes first, always, and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety comes last, always, and every time. And one important lesson I learned in the army was, know your men who you command better than their own mothers. Very challenging task. And care for them even more. You look after the welfare of the people you command. As a leader, they will look after your interests. You know, when I was in Jammu Kashmir, when I was in the northeast in Manipur, recently we had a very bad ambush on the commanding officer of 46 Assam Rifles, Colonel Biplab Tripathi in Manipur, in Chashanpur district. You know, when I was there and we were going in a convoy, there were 10 vehicles going together in one go, because the danger is so much. So we all move in a convoy. And if one vehicle had a puncture or a breakdown and we would have to stop, a man would come around and make a human shield around the officer, around me, around us. If you look after the welfare. And ladies and gentlemen, true leadership is when a team does well, the team leader normally, even your teachers would be saying that, no, it's my boys, my students, my team did all the work, right? But even going a step further, a real leadership is when your team says, we did not do anything. It was a leader, our team leader, who did the entire job. The credit goes to him. I just don't feel like concluding, sir. I'm so sorry. I'm so carried away. I'm loving speaking to such wonderful, responsive audience, and I can see the response. And I don't feel like concluding, but I'm very tempted to tell one more story, sir. One more story. Super. And this story in particular I'm telling because this story is about an officer with, I would say, many connects. One connect is he is from the same corps as Colonel Nisar Ahmed Sethi. From the same corps. And the second is because that officer belonged to Nagaland, where we had the honor of serving together. And the third thing is, of course, I know his family closely, and it is a great lesson in leadership, in fact. The greatest lesson in leadership, I would say. The greatest lesson, not the great lesson, not a great lesson, but the greatest lesson in leadership, I would call that lesson. On 20th June 1999, a senior of mine from the army by the name of Captain Kangruse was deployed at the line of control in Kargil. Post midnight, he received orders that they were the post of the enemy on top of a hill, which was creating havoc, a lot of disturbance for the Indian Army, and which were also overlooking the national highway, which was a lifeline for India, connecting India with the mainstream of Jammu Kashmir, Leh Ladakh, and Kargil, the entire sector. So now Captain Kangruze was assigned the task to go and destroy that enemy post. It was 18,000 feet above mean sea level. Minus 19 degree centigrade was the temperature. Heavy snowfall, snowflakes were falling. It was very, very cold. If ever we go to a hill station, of course, most of us would have probably visited Munnar, very nice tea gardens are there, very beautiful place. Or perhaps you would have even gone to Ooty, for that matter. Or if you go to any hill station and we have the early morning tea, our hands are frozen. We get chill blains, we get chill bites. So imagine in minus 19 degree centigrade, 18,000 feet above mean sea level. Captain Kangruze receiving these orders to go and destroy the enemy post, which was on top of a hill, on top of an advantageous position. Captain Kangruze immediately set off, got his troops, his platoon ready, a platoon of 10 brave men. They started the advance towards the enemy post. Steep vertical climb, 90-degree climb. With the help of mounting climbing equipment, they were climbing up and they were slowly edging towards the enemy post. Now, what happens at night? What happens in darkness? But always, sound travels faster. So the enemy, which was sitting on top of the peak, they heard the sounds and they got wind of the fact that there was some movement happening from below this peak. And obviously the enemy got alert. So the enemy looked from their night vision binocular in that general area where the sound was coming from. And they saw, oh my God, brave troops of the Indian Army was marching towards the enemy to smash the daylights out of the enemy. Now in the army, we have something known as an effective range of a weapon and something known as a killing range. I will explain to you what an effective range means. Effective range means, supposing if my weapon fires at a range of, it has a capability of firing, say for example, 700 meters. That does not mean that I will see the enemy 700 meters away and get trigger happy and start firing. No, I will wait for the enemy to close in and come in killing range, say about 200 meters or 300 meters, right? Where I can have the maximum effect of my bullets on the enemy. So the enemy waited for our brave soldiers to close in about 200 meters. And as our soldiers were climbing from down, the enemy waited for them. And when they were 200 meters away, the enemy opened indiscriminate fire in all directions from where the brave Indian Army soldiers were climbing up from. All over, there were bullets being flown. All over, there were bullets flying, ladies and gentlemen. There was no scope of survival. And the first thing which we learn in the army is, the moment we are shot upon, we should take cover. Only when you can protect yourself can you protect your men, and you can advance further. So our men, they tried to gain shelter, but they could not gain shelter, but they kept climbing up. And Captain Kangruze, the brave commander, continued giving orders. He told his men, don't be scared of the bullets. Keep climbing up, keep climbing up. He kept motivating his men, and the men kept going up, kept going up, kept going up, until Captain Kangruze himself, who was leading this platoon, got shot on his abdomen. 3 bullets pierced his abdomen. But he was totally unmindful of his own personal safety, went beyond the call of duty for his motherland and kept climbing up. And he took out his belt, tightened it further, and tied it around his waist, because the blood which was oozing out, it would be controlled to a certain extent, right? Thereafter, Captain Kangruze kept motivating his men to come up. And then Captain Kangruze did something very unimaginable, which none of us can even think of in that temperature. His boots were slipping from that cliff, from that peak. So he took off his boots and he threw them away. and he climbed up barefooted in snow. And as he was the first one from the entire platoon to climb up. And when he climbed up the peak, he was the first soldier who led by personal example, who climbed on top of the peak, and he came face to face with the enemy soldier. Now there was only a 1 meter distance and a 1 meter difference between Captain Kangarooze and the enemy soldier. Both were looking at each other eye to eye. And Captain Kangarooze had climbed up with a rocket launcher around his neck, which is so heavy. You need 2 people to carry it. One person carries and loads, the other person takes aim and fires. It's so heavy. But Captain Kangarooze only climbed with that and a commando knife. There was no small firearm with him. It was with his buddy. So Captain Kangarooze, using quick reflexes and presence of mind, he knew with a rocket launcher he cannot destroy the enemy. The enemy has a personal weapon. So Captain Kangarooze took out his commando knife and he swung it. And he chopped the enemy soldier. Enemy soldier fell down. Captain Kangarooze thereafter crawled on snow towards the enemy bunker, took out his rocket launcher from his neck, took aim and fired at the enemy bunker. He took aim at the second bunker and fired. And he destroyed both the bunkers there, ladies and gentlemen. Just then, the enemy started running away from where the Indian Army soldiers had come from. But when they were running, they were fighting with their weapon behind. Because if they run like this, the enemy, our soldiers will fire at them again. So the enemy soldiers are running from there. And just then, a burst of enemy fire came and hit Captain Kangarooze right on his chest, who fell from the cliff. And when he fell from the cliff, his body went and fell into a ravine downstairs. Our brave soldiers who had climbed up with all the action went down to see how the brave platoon commander would be. They could not find their brave platoon commander's body anywhere. When they searched again, they found the brave platoon commander lying in a pool of blood with his hands twisted because he had fallen from a great height. There were 3 bullets in his abdomen, a burst fire on his chest. His legs were twisted and turned around, spinal cord broken, but yet he had not died. Being so grievously wounded, he had not died. Why didn't he die? He didn't die because he had become a martyr, and martyrs never die. They become legends and live in our hearts and minds forever. They were carrying the national flag in their rucksack, which is known as the Patpittu Jola. They took out the rucksack, their national flags in the rucksack, draped the body of the brave platoon commander in that national flag. They climbed up the hill once again, and this time with uncertainty, because now the enemy would have probably sent reinforcement to man that peak again. But no, the enemy had run away totally from there. The men planted the national flag over there, placed the body of the brave platoon commander next to the national flag, and the men, our brave robust soldiers, cried. They wept. They howled like little babies, not because they'd won a battle or a peak or a mountain. No, they cried because they had lost their brave platoon commander, who they very affectionately, out of love, called him Nimbo Sahab, because he hailed from the northeast, and Kangarooze is a very long name to remember. So Nimbo Sahab for short. And the men cried, and in unison they said, it so happens if you are thinking something at the same time, and I am thinking the same time, you will say something, I will say the same thing, exactly the same thing, and we'll say, hey, jinx. So the men cried and they said, Ye jeet aapki hai, Nimbo Sahab! Ye hill aapka hai. Aaj se ye hill, Nimbo Hill कहलाएगा. This victory is yours, Nimbo Sahab. This hill is yours. From today, this hill will be named as Nimbo Hill. If ever any of you go to Kargil to see where the Indian Army fought for your tomorrow, you will find a very, very prominent feature over there known as Nimbo Hill. Now, that is the story of Nimbo Hill, but the story does not end over here. When Captain Kangarooze's body was brought back from Kargil to Dimapur at the airport, 3 decades, 30 years of insurgency in Nagaland. Now, Nagaland has got a very diverse society, very diverse tribal culture. Like there are different tribes like Ao, Angami, Chang, Chakidang, Sema, Konyak, Lotamao. They're different tribes. Now, these tribes also don't have unity amongst them. They fight. There's infighting among the tribes as well. But 3 decades of insurgency was forgotten in Nagaland on one single day when Captain Kangarooze's body was brought back and the entire Nagaland joined together. They held hands after washing their hands, of course. And they said, Captain Kangaroo, Amar Rahe, Amar Rahe. Captain Kangaroo, Amar Rahe, Amar Rahe. The story goes on, and there are many such stories which you would have seen. Sher Shah, you would have seen about Captain Vikram Batra, and there are many such stories. But anyhow, I don't want to take much of your time. I know you all are busy, and I would like to conclude by saying, in this pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I set up an online public speaking academy of mine where I train people in effective communication, the art of not being a storyteller, but being a story shower. And who says that an online class does not work well? It can be more effective and more efficient than an offline class. I still say that. By seeing your interest, I am sure you all would agree to me. Thank you very much for inviting me over here, sir. Kal Nisar Ahmed, sir. And thank you, Amir Bhai. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amir Ahmed, sir. Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind, everyone. And it was a pleasure. Professor Saab, thank you very much. Jai Hind. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. It was truly inspirational, and to listen from you is motivating as well. So now we'll move on to the question and answer session. We have no questions posted so far. So we'll just wait for a minute or two, maybe.
So I will post a question. I'll post a question.
Yes,
let's see who answers first. Fastest finger first. So who has subscribed to my YouTube channel? You can answer. Yes. Okay, only one, two. Thank you very much. And who has shared it? Who has commented on that? Unless I would love it if questions come from you, and I would be very, very happy to take them on. I have cancelled on my appointment. I have all the time for you all. So regarding me, don't worry about it. I have all the time for you guys. Okay. I'm here for unlimited time for you all. You will all see your convenience and then ask me whatever you would like to ask me.
So then I'll just shoot a question from my side.
Yes,
so as it's always said that you should never view your challenges as disadvantages. So instead, we have to learn from the experiences. But at times, there are people who get, whatever they desire very easily. So is that a disadvantage for them? Because otherwise, you can learn from the experience. But when you get things very easily, is it a disadvantage?
Ma'am, very, very good question. And through your question, I'm sure we'll answer a lot of young minds. Yes, you said it right. If you get things easily in life, it is a disadvantage because you will not know the value of things. Only when you struggle, when you go through hardships, when you claw your way up, you will know the value of every single moment. Like, for example, let's talk about punctuality. It was a true story again, I'll share with you. It was year 2003, November. But it was October or November, I don't really remember exactly. And we were in a village in Jammu Kashmir. And there was a senior of mine. We got information that a bunch of suspects have probably crossed over the border and they are hiding in a hut in this particular village. We immediately reacted. I was the QRT commander. QRT is a quick reaction team. And we cordoned that village, we cordoned that hut, and we announced on the speaker. I wonder if you would have seen Vishal Bhardwaj's film, Haider. So I acted in that film, Haider. My scene is there on my YouTube channel, Haider Bajrangi Bhaijan ki scene. Anyway, so we announced on the mic that, please surrender. We will not do anything. We will not harm you. But no one came forward and surrendered. So my senior from the army, he decided to go inside the hut all by himself, all alone. He went inside and he says, I'm going inside. No one is going to follow me. I will handle them. मैं अंदर जा रहा हूं, मेरे पीछे कोई नहीं आएगा. And he entered the hut. I was the second in command of that operation. And as he entered the hut, it was pitch dark. You could only hear the dogs howl, and we could not hear anything but a sound of gunfire. We were wondering what's going on inside. And 2 minutes passed. Those 2 minutes seemed like 2 hours, longest. And I was wondering, I hope Captain Saini is fine. And I was tempted to go inside. I was a young lieutenant at that time. I had just celebrated my 24th birthday at that time. and I wanted to go inside, but the orders of my senior kept echoing in my ears that no one's going to come behind me. And just when I was preparing to go inside, the hut's door opened. And we see Captain Saini coming out of this hut after a very successful operation. That night when we sat down for dinner, he told me, Ali, there came a moment where I entered the hut. I was face to face with the insurgent. I was looking into their eye, they were looking into my eye. And the question arose, who will fire first? And whoever fires first will survive, will live to tell the tale. And I just happened to pull the trigger first, and here I am. So that was the value of a split second, not a second, a split second, which could be a lifesaver, a life giver, or a life taker. On 26th January, we see Air Force aircraft, diamond formation, spear formation, different formations. Imagine the coordination and synchronization, the planning they have to do and the rehearsal they have to do. Because one small split second mistake and it can be a mid-air collision. So yes, ma'am, you said absolutely right. If you get things easily, it is a disadvantage. My way is, once if you struggle, but why struggle when you can get things easy? Which means if you have the right guidance, you will get things comparatively easier. The struggle would be lesser. For example, if someone tells you, okay, now from Calicut, you have to drive to Trivandrum. If you know the way, you can drive. But if you don't know the way, you'll probably reach Palghat. So there's a difference there. So yes, you're right. So if you get things easily, it is a disadvantage.
Thank you very much, sir. So as a token of love and appreciation, we would like to present you with a certificate on behalf of SAFI, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining and accepting our invitation. Now, I would like to invite Professor E.P. Mbichikoya, Principal of SAFI Institute of Advanced Study, who is widely respected for his innovative ideas, leadership qualities, humility, and accessibility. And he has left his mark in whatever portfolio he has been in. So I welcome you, sir, for the vote of thanks.
So, good evening. A respected chief guest of this webinar, Major Muhammad Ali Shah Sahab, Dr. Amir Ahmed Sahab, Mr. Amir Ahmed, and Dr. Colonel Nisar Ahmed Sahab, and my dear colleagues and dear students and invited guests. Today we have been blessed with Major Ali Sahab, and who made a magical presentation. And his experience in military and as an actor, it was actually reflected in his presentation. And the topic was how to convert your disadvantages into advantages. And his experience and exposure in film field as a motivational speaker, as a wellness coach, and as a storyteller. Actually, all your experience in those fields has incorporated in your 1.5 hours of speech. And it was highly impressive and it was a highly wonderful speech. And all of us are very much happy for having you with us. And we are deep-heartedly expressing our gratitude to you on behalf of all the SAFI family. And I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Amir Ahmed Sahab, who is the secretary of SAFI, and his guidance and support for conducting this webinar is actually it's very unexplainable. Then we have Mr. Amir Ahmed Sahab, the former secretary and the presently the vice president of SAFI Transformation Committee, who was in our program throughout the session. So especially Mr. Colonel Nisar Ahmed Sahab is also with us for conducting this program in a most fitting manner. I also take this opportunity to thank all my colleagues, especially the IQAC coordinator, Dr. Sherwin Wesley, the deputy coordinator, Ms. Farah Barami, and all other staff, and also Mr. Agil Nath and his team, who did their technical support for conducting this program. And I also take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, and only with the support of these students, we could make it a successful event. Many of our students were in our auditorium and many were online in their home or participating in this program. So on behalf of the SAFI family, I take this opportunity to thank all of you for your presence and all your support for conducting this program. So as already mentioned, this was the 6th episode of the monthly webinar series of SAFI. And the next month, we will come with another guest and a new topic. And we expect the wholehearted cooperation from all of you, and with your presence, and also by taking this to your heart and do accordingly, because all the topics were mainly focusing on the leadership, one of the important mission of SAFI. With these words, let me conclude by thanking all of you for your presence and your participation in this program from beginning to end.